Spitalfield Market at lunchtime. Just an average weekday as secretaries and their bosses make for the local wine bars and bistros which replaced the ancient 17th century market in 2001. Of course, the old fruit and veg market had by then been moved to Leighton, but the traders' arts and crafts market, the people's flea market, was going strong until the men in suits moved in. Frankly, I think it's a disgrace, an outrage, a blasphemy. To diminish one of the oldest parts of the city, to deplete it of its ancient buildings, and to replace it with glass and chrome, smart shops and expensive boutiques which lack any palpable kind of taste or charm, this is madness. Modern madness. Spitalfield has been sacrificed to the altar of progress. What's done is done. But shouldn't we learn from this grave error and make more of a fuss to save Smithfield and borough markets? The developers want to reform Smithfield and Borough. Never mind that they contain some of the oldest and rarest bits of London. So rare, in fact, they are used routinely by filmmakers making period movies for film and television. Many of the buildings under threat by borough redevelopment are in fact listed, but the government, in its wisdom in giving Crossrail the green light, must have mandated compulsory development, thus overriding listed status. A pity that. Covent Garden was saved by one man, Ray Green, chairman of Covent Garden's Victorian Jubilee Hall. Green and a number of local residents petitioned the government in 1974, when plans were afoot to demolish all the old market buildings, following removal of the historical market to Nine Elms. 250 old buildings got immediate listing and were therefore exempt from demolition. Green, in addition, succeeded in doing a deal which gave traders protected status at the Jubilee Hall. I think he negotiated a 100-year lease at Peppercorn Rentals in perpetuity. Sympathetic adaptation, I think, is the term. Of course, nothing beats the old days, when things had a reason for being, when the garden was a market, and a roaring market, too. What fate awaits this oldest of London's horse markets, once the site of St. Bartholomew Fair and Smithfield Pond, of cattle pens and slaughterhouses where the red blood of cattle and other livestock ran through the gutters down to the Thames? What fate awaits the market which filled Dickens with awe and revulsion, the calamitous throng of illness, poverty, deformity, sloth, and waste, which coagulated to awe and assault oncomers? The majority of Horace Jones's listed buildings are not under threat, but the two buildings fronting Farringdon Street, which suffered fire damage and when rebuilt failed to measure up to English heritage standards, have been put on the demolition list. Will there be any reprieve?